My name is Carl Hatzel, and I'm with a group called CSD that's been asked to facilitate these sessions. This is the third listening tour session. I appreciate and welcome everybody that's here. I'd like to go over, before I introduce the House Speaker to welcome you, I'd like to go over some of our ground rules. One of the key things that we bring to the table is having a structured process that produces the most productive listening session possible and collects as much information as possible. Again, this is the third of several around the state. And tonight what we want to be able to do is to start with a panel that we've asked a diverse panel of small business owners, entrepreneurs, to kind of jumpstart the session by briefly talking a little bit about their business, what have been the successes and what have been the challenges or areas that they think might be helpful as to solutions. We have several ways for you to provide input. One is through speaking and offering your comments, which will be recorded and provided to the legislative folks on this committee. And also there's a survey. As everybody see on their table, some documents. If you take a look at those, there's a simple survey. No name is necessary, but sometimes we don't have time for everyone to speak, or there's a opportunity that you just want to write some stuff down and not speak. Please put that in. We take that and summarize that information. You also find on the agenda form a thing called an afterthought form. The afterthought is a place that you can go. It's an online little survey that allows you, after you leave, the afterthought, you say, gee, I wish I would have said that, or I wish I'd have this idea in place. You can use that. What's important is that we have some guidelines and make sure that we conduct this session for its purpose. As you can see on that agenda page, the purpose is to have small business owners and entrepreneurs speak to issues about small business and starting a business or growing a business in West Virginia. This is not a general listening session on all types of things, but specifically things that relate to small business as well as entrepreneurship. In that particular regards, we want to make sure that you give us as specific information as you can. In other words, speak to a particular solution. I can say that after the first two sessions, there were some things that actually got changed in legislation that were important things. May not be the biggest thing in the world, but they're little things that help in terms of the business climate and success there. If you'll notice on the board in the back, there's one here, and on the bottom, or almost on the bottom of your agenda sheet, a simple set of guidelines. We find that these guidelines are very important to make the session as effective and as productive as possible. We don't want to limit what you want to speak to, but we want to limit how we do that process. One is to share the floor. You may have come with many, many ideas, but we want to give everybody an opportunity. So if you have a few ideas, we'll come back around to you, but just make sure everybody we share the floor and get as many ideas as we can. Also, we want to keep a good pace and to be concise and to get as much as we can, because the time isn't that long before we're out of here. There are a couple other things on here that suggest about it being positive. We wanted it to be, what are some of the successes as well as some of the solutions that we need to look at in the future. So we do want to be positive. We want to respect each other and not judge what people are saying, but try and get as much as we can. And it's been very successful the last two sessions we've had to be able to do that. So my job is to kind of make sure that we try and keep to those ground rules. Matt West will be moving around to bring Matt's over there to get a microphone to you after the panelists to speak. And we do have somebody that's video recording this. If you do have a concern with that, just let us know. But for the most part, we just want to have a record of this that we can share with legislative folks that weren't here. Most importantly, I think, is that we really want to try and get as many ideas as we can. And so hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. I'd like to introduce the House Speaker, Tim Miley, to welcome you.
Thank you, Carl, and thank all of you for coming out this evening. This is such a great turnout as we have had in our first two listening stops, but the evenings weren't quite as nice as this evening is, so And a special thank you for you guys coming out on and committing your time for on this nice evening. When I became speaker, one of the things I wanted to do is to focus on small business and entrepreneurship growth in West Virginia. So we set up a new committee called Small Business Entrepreneurship and Economic Development that meets during the session, but as a part of the responsibility for that committee, we decided to have this listening tour. And the goal of the listening tour, unlike a lot of these town halls that politicians and other elected officials have, is to do just that. We're here to listen. Whatever you say, I'm sure every one of us up here has some response we'd like to give to you, some answer, some comment, some criticism. But the reality is that doesn't help create a meaningful experience. And so our job is to listen. And we tried to make this meaningful by identifying business owners here that you see in front, because we believe that it's from your local successful business owners that you inspire others in your community to succeed. We can all point to the fellow who went from zero to $20 billion by creating Facebook. We can point to Bill Gates. But those people are so far removed from our daily lives. We feel like the best inspiration comes from within, and that's from these folks up here and those of you out there who are small business owners who have had success, but also those of you who may be encountering some obstacles in becoming successful. So we want this to be a meaningful experience, not just for you all out there, but for us as well. I was speaking to the media out there, and they asked what we hope to gain from this. Well, we are a citizen legislature. We all have different backgrounds, and we are a product of our life experience up to this very moment in time. We don't have any experience with many of the same experiences that you guys have had. And so sometimes I think you all believe that we have all the answers or should have all the answers when we don't, because we haven't bothered to stop and ask you. Now, we hear a lot of things such as less regulation. Well, that doesn't really help us with anything. But when someone says, like they did in our first one, I'm a free-range chicken farmer and I'm limited to raising only 1,000 chickens. If you guys would increase that limit, maybe I'd be able to be more successful. And we did. We increased it to 20,000. Now, I don't think any one of us up here had any experience raising chickens, but my point is that gentleman shared that with us, and now he's going to be a more successful. What's that? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I forgot about Alan over in Grant County. Yeah, he does raise chickens, but are they free-range, Alan? Are they free-range chickens? That's what I thought. But anyway, my point is there are so many unique businesses and entrepreneurs that exist in our state, and that really is going to be the growth of our economy in this state. And so we want to hear from you. I hope it's a meaningful evening for you all, as I hope it will be for us. Now, leading the Small Business Economic Development and Entrepreneurship Committee is a friend of mine and a delegate from Kanawha County who is also a small business owner. I should point out, and I forgot to mention earlier, that the members of that committee either currently are or have been small business owners. Because to be frank with you, everybody wants to have and give input as to what they think will make businesses succeed in West Virginia. But there's a lot of people who talk the talk, but we wanted to put people on the committee and hear from people out there who have actually walked the walk. Those people who have made payrolls, who may or may not have provided retirement benefits, may or may not have provided health benefits as part of their business model. But we wanted to make sure that we were drawing from the experience of those who may have actually laid awake at night in bed thinking, gee, payroll, I've got to make payroll Friday. Do I have enough money in my account to do so, or am I going to have to tap into my line of credit? So that was sort of the concept behind what we tried to put together, not just in the committee forum, but for you here tonight. So thank you for the opportunity to come to Beckley. It's been a long time since I've been here, and I see driving in, there are a lot of developing businesses going on out here. I can't speak to the area other than our coal industry is under fire, but it looks like there's a lot of business growth going on along the main drive coming in here. And I pulled up some research on Beckley that if you go to Indeed.com, it shows there to be 764 job openings within 25 miles of Beckley. And it gives you all kind of job opportunities. And so we're here to try to help any way we can. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Speaker Miley. And, last summer when the Speaker Miley took over, he had this vision. He said, we have so many committees, and what can we do to stand out? This committee actually last year was called Small Business, Economic Development, Industry, Labor, and Energy. And economic development. This committee was huge. A 25-member committee focusing on all those issues that met 1 hour a week on Wednesdays. during a 60-day session. There's no way we can put the focus, and we ask that small business is our future of West Virginia. How can we put the focus with just 1 hour and we share all that time with all those other issues? So Speaker Malley, like he said, without repeating, he decided to break this committee off and create its own new committee, Small Business, Entrepreneurship, Economic Development. And from that broke out a listening tour that we went around the state. Well, you can't do anything by yourself in the legislature, so we quickly identified a bipartisan group that I'd like to indulge you just for a second and introduce everyone that took their time to be away from their family and be here tonight to listen to your concerns and what we can do. And thank you for you taking that chance and going out there. Those of you during the winter months, and I know my friend Mr. Arnold here, and those months, they kind of drag on sometimes, and you look forward to those seasons because we have a wild, wonderful state and what we can do to help you promote that in your businesses. So first up, my co-chairman over there, Senator Bob Williams in the Senate side, he chairs the committee through interim with us, Small Business Economic Development. And we have your local delegate down there, Miss Delegate Sumner from Raleigh, Delegate Ron Walters from Kanawha, our Speaker Pro Tem from Hancock County, Delegate Randy Schwartzmiller, our whip, Mr. Mike Caputo there from Marion, Larry Williams, who's a farmer by trade and has numerous other small businesses from Preston County, Delegate Williams, Delegate Erica Storch from the Northern Panhandle. We have Delegate Pino, that some of you might know, from Fayette County. Mr. Ricky Moy, Delegate Moy from Raleigh County. Miss Carol Miller, Delegate Miller from Cabell. We go down all the way from the Eastern Panhandle, who didn't drive in today, right here. Delegate Jason Barrett, who owns a pizza shop over in the Eastern Panhandle. Delegate Bill Hartman, insurance man from Randolph County. Delegate Tim Manchin, he's our Judiciary Chairman. Next to him, Delegate Barbara Fleschauer from Mon County, Morgantown. Delegate, our chicken farmer, our resident chicken farmer, Delegate Alan Evans. Delegate Bill Hamilton from Upshur. Delegate Cooper over there, is he next? Yeah, Delegate Cooper. We see Delegate Arvon, your local delegate here from Raleigh. And last but not least, from Roane County, Delegate Ashley. Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks again for everybody coming out. And like I said, it's not about us speaking tonight. It's about hearing from you firsthand. You guys are the ones that stay up late at night to make that payroll, pay your taxes, and help keep West Virginians working. And we look forward to taking notes. And we actually look forward to putting these principles into place as we move forward through interim meetings. And some of you might even be invited back to Charleston to help as we grow legislation to help grow your business. Thank you.
Before we start the panel, I also want to mention there are providers of service for small business and entrepreneurs that come to these sessions. They're here. Again, they're here listening, and at the end we will introduce them, and they will remain if you have a question with them once you hear what they do. So we'd like to start with the panel to jumpstart it. Rhonda, would you like to start it?
I'm Rhonda Dorch, Bluestone Mountain Farm and Soap Company. I moved here in 2011 to expand my business and live in a quieter, more peaceful place where there's more of a sense of community. I came from a really busy city where you just kind of got lost in the shuffle, so I wanted to be more of the shuffle instead of lost in the shuffle. And I just felt the strength here with support from agriculture and just the local people that just kind of wanted to bond together and make things happen. And I just felt that as just a visitor when I came. So I moved here by myself with a trailer load of animals and found a great spot to land in Summers County. My business is goat's milks, essential oil soaps, and specialty soaps, and I do pasture-raised poultry. My focus is the meat as far as the pasture. As far as successes, let's go back. The goats, and that business is just bubbling right along. I have found the support from the Conservation District helping me get established here. That's been a success, is just the support that I came here and got. They helped me get water that I didn't have on my farm, and they helped me set up a lot of things about my farm that just wasn't functioning. And then support groups like the Greenbrier Valley Grown Initiative that helped get my product out there and just helped me feel like a part of the community and learn who the people were here, because I didn't know anybody when I landed. So I expanded the second year with the pastured poultry, and I hear that was one of my issues and I see that now they are changing that to the limit. My limitation here for going faster and further is the transportation issue. I'm a single farmer. If I take time out of my day to try to take things to Charleston to customers, there's my day loss. Who's at the farm helping me? If I send stuff to Union to another buyer, co-op group, there goes my day again. So I'm left with very little time on the farm trying to get this food where it needs to be. I'd like to expand with other produce and other things, but the food that's my problem, is getting my product to the buyer. I'd like to see if there's a way that we could get some help, some funding maybe for even veterans, for disabled people. There's so many people that could help me on my farm that really want to work, and that would be very therapeutic for them too, that could help, or transport product as a group of farmers, a truck that would come and pick our product up at the farm and take it to a central location, and then go from there further. There's so many farmers here that want to expand, but they just we don't have the pieces together to do that.
Good evening. I'm Paul with Country Road Cabins. I want to just start out saying thank you for this opportunity to speak. It's very unusual to have legislatures listen to what we say, and it's fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity. I also want to thank a few people in the audience behind me, Kathy Calhoun and Jim Epling. Kathy Calhoun is the New River Gorge Development Regional, I don't know, it changes. But anyway, they've been just fantastic, and Jim's been great help in number crunching and things. In fact, we just met this morning and scratched our head about ratios. So these two people have been tremendous help. United Bank has been just fantastic in helping us grow. In a former life, I came down here in 1969 and started whitewater rafting. Second company. I used to be 5'6". I'm now 6'5", but that happens. Country Road Cabins actually started in 1996 with the basis of tourism attraction to stay here longer than one day. We had one day of rafting and people were gone. By the way, our marketing area, if you drive 5 hours, in other words, draw a circle around this area, a 5-hour drive, there's over 25 million people, we estimate. Amazing, amazing. A lot of people drive Route 19. I drive it every day. And there's an opportunity. One of the opportunities is how, these people are at our door. Also, the Boy Scouts are on the boards and bring millions of people. They're at our door. How do we open that door? That is the question. I don't have an answer particularly, and I don't know anybody that does, but they're at our door. And I've watched tourism for many, many years, and also want to thank the legislature for the MAP program. We couldn't be nearly successful without that program. It's called the matching, or you mean, no, it's a matching advertising partnership program. It's just fantastic. And anywhere you go in the country, I know outfitters all over the country and some in foreign countries, it's just the envy of the country, this program. We need to continue that to compete. It's very vital, the tourism. And also without the 1-800 program. I mean, we went down there and asked them specifically what were their key words. They said hot tub. We said, really? So we put hot tubs in every one of our cabins. I mean, that was simple, but we listened to them. And we really appreciate you listening to us. So we need to open the door to all these tourists going down Route 19, all these people coming into the Boy Scout Ranch. How do we do that? A suggestion is build a very nice visitor center, top-notch quality, that these people will actually stop and see what West Virginia is all about here in this area on Route 19 somewhere. I mean, right now you cross the Meadow River and you've got a 5x7 green and white sign that says, "Welcome to Whitewater Rafting." Who sees that? It's 5 seconds. I mean, it's 70 miles an hour. I mean, I'm sorry, 60 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit. So those are the challenges. How do we keep this going? The challenges are to keep this going is through funding that MAP program properly, getting it to continue so that we can be effective in competing. I once understood that Asheville, North Carolina had a budget, tourism marketing budget, the same as the state of West Virginia. I don't understand that. And then the final thing, and you've probably heard this over and over again, I drive Sunday Road. We're located on Sunday Road in Hyco. Sunday Road attaches to Saturday Road That's a whole nother story, and I'll tell you if you get in a raft with me sometime at Adventures on the Gorge, because we're part of that. But when you have a person from Maryland, or we had a person today from Ontario, drive down 12 foot of pavement, and another truck was coming the other way, and oh, by the way, you've got to share that road. Well, that's foreign to them, absolutely foreign. And we've had several major accidents. They were local people, by the way. But fortunately, we haven't had a tourist. And if you're on vacation, I would ask yourself this. Would you want to drive that road? I wouldn't if I'm on vacation. I just came back. My son got married in New Jersey, and I paid way too much in tolls, $50, but that's another whole story. So how do we fix these roads? How do we fill the potholes? How do we do these things? We've got a lot of natural resources here, maybe another 2 cents on a ton or 2 cents on some gas, whatever. I mean, that's tough. I hate to say that as a person. I mean, we're paying 6% sales and 6% lodging tax. But you go to Sevierville, you look at Sevierville. It's huge. They've got an outlet mall. That was my final comment. We need an outlet mall here, by the way. So those things. We need to support the MAP program. We need to improve the roads, maintenance the roads somehow. Maybe just in the tourist area, so these people get the right impression. You know what it is. We all are. First impression is the impression. We need to support tourism programs and MAP. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kelly Harrison with Anna Labs, and sorry. I want to thank you too for having me here, and I also want to thank Kathy Calhoun and Joe Browse. They've helped us a lot in the last year with some projects that we've had. Anna Labs was started in 1987, 27 years ago. We are an environmental lab. We also do drug testing for employers. The key to our success has been diversification. About 15 years ago, our accountant actually told us to file bankruptcy. And we didn't do that, and we made it through. But the reason why he told us to file bankruptcy was because we were solely providing services for the coal industry. And at that time, the coal industry was having trouble. Again, the coal industry is having trouble. But now we have diversified. We're doing work for other industries. We're doing different types of work. However, we have to continue to diversify, and our state needs to continue to diversify, and we're not doing that well enough. And so I think that's one of the things that our state needs to do. We need to bring in other industries so that when the coal industry does do bad, the whole state isn't doing bad. One of the obstacles, though, that our particular company does struggle with is that we are an environmental laboratory. And the certification program in our state is not equal to some of the other states. I recently did some studies with Virginia, in fact, which is our neighboring state. And I compared what laboratories in Virginia could get for analysis compared to what we can get for analysis, and it's about a 20 to 30% difference. And that's based on the certification program that Virginia requires based on and compared to what West Virginia has. Now, we want our kids to get good degrees. We want our kids to stay here, and we want them to get good paying jobs. And our kind of company can offer that. But we can't offer that if we can't pay them well. And we can't pay them well if we can't get good prices for our services. And we can't get good prices for our services if we have to compete with laboratories that don't have to do the same services that we do. They don't have to do the same services that we do if they're not held to the same standards that we are, and they're not being held to that currently with the certification program that we have in our state. That could be changed. So currently there is a certification called NELAC. That's a national certification, and that should be done in our state. It's NELAC, N-E-L-A-C. Our current DEP is very reluctant to that. It's more work. and they just don't want to do it. But it would be much better for our state. Right now, thanks to some of the state programs that we have been helped with Kathy and with Joe and some other people, we're doing a major expansion, and we're adding lots of new programs and departments, and that's going to help us to be able to service companies outside of the state. And so that is going to be very beneficial to us and to our people. We have been still successfully growing over the last several years. We've probably tripled in size even, and still. So we're still growing, and we're doing well. But we could be doing better. So, but that's some things that would be beneficial for us. Also, our state actually competes with us. The health department competes with us, which is, I think, just really ridiculous. So they do the health department does the same analysis that we do and competes with us. Which I don't think any government should be in competition with their businesses. There's no reason for that.
Thank you for this opportunity for being here, and I'm kind of in a unique position, and I want to agree with the rest of the panel that with Kathy Calhoun and the folks in Beckley and helping the surrounding areas in the New River Gorge. I've lived in Fayette County for the last 63 years, and I've watched this whole area grow from the New River Gorge Bridge to the Boy Scouts, from that whole unique growth. My position was and is a little bit, I don't want to say better, but the panel that's here tonight, folks, in my previous life, I served with Senator Joe Manchin when he was governor. So I was a regional representative, and I interacted with many of the folks here tonight. And it was a privilege. I learned about state government. Mr. Speaker, it was an honor for me to serve our state and to learn about all the agencies, from the Department of Highways to the administration to purchasing to the tax department to the whole gambit. And I encourage the folks that are here tonight to do the same, to learn when a bill is born and when it dies or if it survives, because it's really critical to have knowledge of how these folks have to deal with committees to get into judiciary, to get it to the floor, to get it to a vote, and all that that transpires. So with that being said, I left state government in the private sector. I've been around the coal industry 43 years, and I'm proud of that. And it is tough. Kelly, you're exactly right. Coal industry is tough. My father spent 44 years in the mining industry, and Mike, you can relate to all that with the coal industry. But Sandshell Product, I'll give you a brief history. Sandshell, since 1988, Sandshell Products have been manufacturing quality roof drilling bits for underground mining industry in Oak Hill, West Virginia for the past 26 years. From the blending of unique grade carbide, tungsten carbide powders to the final assembly and packaging, our roof drill bits are processed and produced from start to finish at our manufacturing plant in Oak Hill. With a newly acquired facility with the assistance of Kathy Calhoun, we purchased a 40,000 square foot facility from Caterpillar, which has been refurbed since April of last year, and we're about 3 to 4 months away from completing that, which will house our tungsten powder pressing and blending operations. Sandshell employs over 80 people in Fayette County. It's an untold secret, and we work 2 shifts a day. During the volatile economy over the last several years, and including the recent downturn of the coal industry, Sandshell is proud to have never encountered an employee layoff, because we review and we make constant market changes, which Kelly alluded to. In 2008, Sandshell Products recognized a real need to offer a complete line of underground mining tools, and we began manufacturing high-quality continuous miner bits, which created an alternative to a higher cost, thus moving Sandshell into a position to compete with one of the world's largest competitors of ours, both in the U.S. and now potentially worldwide. We take pride in offering our product that is 100% American made, and we will continue to invest in the people, the equipment, the facilities to provide product to our industry which we serve, as well as serving our community and being involved in our community. And I want to address item number 3, which reflects to our successes. I think our successes, when I came on board 3 years ago with Sam Jasper, who's the CEO and chairman of our company, founded the company, started in a garage, and we now have over 75,000 square feet of manufacturing space. And Mike, you can relate to regrinding roof bits. He started that. So he started, and we are right now in a position to continue to grow. We recommend you know your market on a daily, weekly, and watch for new trends, watch for new products, watch for market pricing, and don't try to manage with tunnel vision. Seek out experienced people that either know your market or that knows what to do, whether it's your accountant or someone that can give you advice. We seek that constant advice. And I read every day, morning, noon, and night, to know what West Virginia's market is, what we need to do to adjust. The challenge with West Virginia is I talked to our CFO today. The only complaint that was there that we, as Sandshell, the state tax department is beginning to withhold refunds at this point, requiring us to have a 100% documentation of returns, which has never happened, in order to just receive the funds. And to date, we filed that in January, and to date, we've received no rejection, nor we have received any notification of approval. So, like I say, we did file that in January. Nothing is ever needed to be 100% audited. Not even an audit is 100% audited, okay? So our CFO says, what's the deal? I said, I'll pass that along. So our company has always, over the years, come back with 0 findings. So with that said, I'll move on to the number 5, which it just says, based on your business model, what do you think the West Virginia leaders should do to benefit future success in our state? I think if the legislatures keep a balance, okay, with legislation, both business, both labor, and environment, I think is just a common sense approach. I think all of West Virginians, if the majority was taken, we all have common sense. I love living in West Virginia. You were talking about New Jersey. Going up this weekend, I can spend 3 days with my son and grandkids, but I like coming back to America. That's what I tell my son, and he goes, oh, Dad, come on. But it's true. This is the greatest place in the world to live. But keep a balance. And the difference, I'm going to close with this. The difference between a manager and an owner is this. A manager needs to do things right. An owner must do the right thing. And those are the decisions: to file bankruptcy, to move on, to grow, to borrow money, not borrow money, to hire, to fire. Those are the things, those are the 2 points that I want to make. Those are the difference in a manager and an owner. And I appreciate this opportunity. God bless you, and I appreciate West Virginia. God bless West Virginia. Dave Arnold, you're next.
First off, again, everybody said it, but thank you guys for coming. I want to tell you something. I have a number of trade associations I go to. My favorite one is 10 Outfitters, supposedly, top outfitters in the country, no competing people. We've been together for 15, 20 years. I mean, we know our families. We're really, really close, and they're from all over. They're from the West. They're from all over, and one of the rules is that anything can be discussed at our meetings. And so we've gotten to know each other really well. And one of the things that I always hear is people complaining about the government and where they are with their state people. And I constantly say, thanks on the federal level to people like Congressman Rahal and Senator Byrd, people like you guys. We actually have partnerships with our state government, and we really do, and I appreciate that. I also want to recognize a couple people. I want to recognize Dave Hartvigsen. Dave is our new CEO. Dave came from Colorado. He was VP of lodging for IntraWest, all the different resorts, and Xanterra, which ran all the great Western resorts. Also has background with lots of other hospitality industries. I also want to recognize Rick Johnson. Rick's here. He's wherever he is. He's one of my competitors. He's probably surprised I did that, but let me tell you, competitors make us stronger. They really, you know, we work together and we help. I also want to recognize Paul Brewer. He is one of my business partners. And 44 years ago, when I was 16 years old, I did a 550-mile canoe trip with Paul, and it changed both our lives. We're here as outfitters because of that trip. So with that, one story. If you're on an airplane and you sit next to somebody, and I know we've all been there, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, where you are in the country, when they say, "Where are you from?" and you say West Virginia, you generally get a couple categories of responses. I can tell you this, if they have played in this state, if they've skied, if they've rafted, if they've played here, you will see them immediately smile. They will tell you stories. They will get very excited, animated. If they haven't, there's some that don't know where we are. We all know, you know, yeah, I've been to Roanoke or I've been to Richmond. And there's some that have a negative view. I'm telling you, if they've played here, it makes a huge difference. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about my company, myself, and then I'm going to give you the one thing I think that needs to be done. I came here right out of college. I was pre-med. I didn't want to go to med school. I started a company with $30,000 with two of my best friends that I knew since we were in the cradle together. I mean, literally, I knew them when we were 1 year old. We're still best friends. We started our company. I worked with Paul prior to that. Paul, myself, Rick, all of us were true entrepreneurs. I mean, we had nothing. I lived in a tent with my wife the first year. So we're true entrepreneurs. Today, I think our payroll, I'm sure Hart could tell me, but we had about 650 W-2s last year. So, you know, we've grown pretty big over the years, thanks to a lot of people. Now, here's another thing. You guys probably don't know this, but imagine the big house full, Ohio State football game, Michigan State, you know, one of the big houses. Okay, imagine all those people. Now imagine Mountaineer Stadium full. Now imagine Joan Edwards Stadium at MU full. We have gone from a peak of 225,000 rafters in West Virginia to last year slightly over 100,000. So think about, where did 100,000 people go? That's what's happened to our industry. 2000, we had 225,000 people that rafted the New and Golly. 14 years later, we're missing half of them. What happened? How did it happen? Now, somebody might say, why aren't you bankrupt, Dave? Well, that's a long story I won't go into, but we've had to diversify just like the state does. We now do all kinds of other things. But here's my point. What happened? And I'm going to quote one of your buddies, or used to be buddies. Senator Crago used to always say, wake up early, work hard, and advertise, advertise, advertise. I'm going to tell you this right now. We did $5.1 billion in tourism revenue in this state last year, $5.1 billion. We have been growing for about 20 years. If I'm wrong, I'll be shocked, but I think we've hit the peak and we're ready to decline. Now, we can either watch it decline, tourism in West Virginia, and go from 5.1 billion to 4.6 or to whatever it is, or we can react. I mean, it's that simple. Now, just so you know, I'm not crazy. Anybody that thinks gaming is growing in the state, please raise your hand, because they're not. I already told you rafting isn't. Skiing is having some issues. I'm telling you, it's all about advertising. And here's the thing that's super important for you guys to understand. All studies have shown that there is an ROI, a return on investment, of somewhere around 5 to 1, 3 to 1, 2 to 1. Does it matter? I mean, if I'm a business person, if somebody's going to return 2 to 1 to me, I'm like ecstatic. Okay? I'll take 1.1 to 1. I'll take a 10% return. Everything shows that if the state spends money advertising marketing, then the state, not our company, not anybody else, will return on that investment substantially. Now, if you want to see a model that's impressive, look to Michigan. The governor of Michigan and the legislature has made a commitment, and they've bought into ROI. And they are increasing every year their budget tremendously for tourism. I can tell you this, and I know why. Tim, you and I have talked about it. You know, our situation, you guys are making very, very hard choices. I know that every day. Where do you spend money? But I'm just telling you, if you look long term and you put money into advertising and tourism, I guarantee you, all the research shows it will grow. It will pay a benefit. And I can also tell you, if we don't, then the industry is in decline. I flat out guarantee you. So anyway, thank you for coming, and I'll pass the mic.
I'm Tom Hughes on HSC. I've been in business 29 and a half years now. I've got about 80 employees. I've got our main branches here are in Beckley. I have an office in Taze Valley, one in Morgantown, and we also have a branch in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm also chairman of the local Region 1 Workforce Investment Board. Serve on advisory boards to Wyoming County Career Center, Fed Institute of Technology, and WVU Parkersburg. And I'm also president of the PAX Volunteer Fire Department. So to me, it's not all about, my business is mostly commercial, industrial, government with schools. But for the most of the time, it was with coal mining. And my grandfather he shoed mules. My father went to work in the mines when he was 13 years old. Never learned how to read or write. So anyway, I've always had an emphasis on education and working with, being a business owner and working with the workforce. Then I see education is something we need to work on here in West Virginia. In Fayette County, we have a 19% dropout rate. Folks, that is totally unacceptable. West Virginia is what, 48th out of 50 in the country in education, and Fayette County is 52nd out of 55 counties. So Fayette County's got a problem. When we have a problem in education, we also have a problem with employment. Now, just recently at the last workforce meeting we had, we were informed of the layoffs from Patriot Coal. And so these guys are going to be coming in, and there is the union, UMWA did get $5.6 million for job training. My big question is, train them in what? For what? Where are these guys going to get jobs at? What are they going to be doing? Now, you mentioned that within 25 miles of Beckley is 764 job openings. What's the skill level of those workers? What's the skill level required here? Our skill level is, I don't need someone to come in and tell me, well, I can do about anything. I don't need that. I need. Are you a journeyman electrician? What experience do you have? Do you have any experience with heating and cooling? The one thing I've had to do, because my coal mining business just last year, I was a dealer for a company, and I've worked a lot in communications and tracking systems underground. My company has put about 50 of those systems underground in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. But last year, I lost my dealership on the company that I was a distributor for. They sold out and gave it to a company out of Lynchburg, Virginia, which set up a distributor out of Pennsylvania. And so my company lost $1.2 million in profit for this year. So I didn't know how to make that up. I wasn't stupid, though. I had diversified. In 2008, I bought out a company, and I have been successful. I have bought out 4 different companies now. And the one being Industrial Electric, which was a company here in Beckley for 37 years, and the PE, he was electrical engineer. He wanted to retire. Well, I'm glad to say that he's still working for me at 75 years old. So we have gone into electrical contracting. We do building automation and controls, energy management systems. We do some residential heating and cooling. We do water and wastewater controls and systems. And we also do we still do some radio communications with police, fire, and so forth. The one thing that has hurt us recently is when especially in our water wastewater business, is we work for a year on calling on engineers, architects, or whatever, but in the engineering firms and on the PSDs, work with these plant operators and stuff, and get right down to where something's going to go out for bid. Well, the funding's been pulled. You know, we thought we was going to have a job start here this year, and the funding dried up on that. No grant money. They told our customer, well, go ahead and go out to the bank and borrow the money, and when we get the money, we'll give it to you. Well, they aren't fools. So, you know, when would they ever get that money? I don't know. So funding is a problem. Now, the one, I guess, one complaint I do have, one issue I have. Now, I don't believe in complaining. I believe in finding answers and solutions. And so that's what we're all here for, is to try to find a solution to a problem. We have to, in West Virginia, we have the prevailing wage. Now, last year, we did 37 schools, upgraded 37 HVAC control systems in schools in Kanawha County. And every one of my technicians was making around $50 an hour because it was prevailing wage. Now, we were awarded a contract in January in Anderson County, Tennessee, to do 17 schools, a contract that's about $847,000 contract. And the prevailing wage in Anderson County, Tennessee is $26. So we can't get funding to do projects in West Virginia. How many more projects could we do? How many people could I put to work if we had a reasonable prevailing wage? I'm not saying don't pay them anything. I'm not, and I believe minimum wage should be $10 an hour. You guys didn't raise it up far enough, but the prevailing wage, if we had a prevailing wage in Kanawha County of $28 an hour, I could see that. I could live with that. Actually, in Tennessee, the prevailing wage is $26 an hour. Well, I got two guys working down there. One makes 28, and the other makes 30. So we don't even pay the prevailing wage. We pay more than that. So that's one thing that I think we could really improve on, and we could create more jobs because we would free up a lot of money for our water, wastewater infrastructure if we just was reasonable with the wage that we paid. I don't know where they get their information on these wages at. Of course, insurance is always a problem. Frivolous lawsuits and stuff like that, that costs the company a lot of money. Health care, I tell you, I'm sick of, I'm tired of having to provide health care for people. Not that I want them to have it, and I think that the health care, Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act is a good thing. I don't think it needs to be repealed. There's some stuff that needs to be worked on. The state, what can the state do to increase the competition, though, in healthcare? We had one company in our marketplace. One. Tennessee's got 50. Why has Tennessee got 50 and we've got one? You know, something is dead wrong there. So these are things that I think it makes it hard for a small business to, you know, we pay out over $30,000 a month for health care. So we need some answers there. To sum up here, I just want to, I want to be like everybody else. I've got great help from the state of West Virginia, from Kathy Calhoun and the New River Development Authority has really helped me out a lot. BB&T The bank has been fantastic to work with. The West Virginia Economic Development Agency does a really good job. Joey Browning, I want to give him some thanks here. And I want to thank you guys. I could go on talking for hours. There are no. When I know somebody said something about the healthcare, well, have you seen that document? It's like 10,000 pages. How in the world could it not be 10,000 pages? How could it not be? Because you tell me of problems when you have to decide, when you have to do something about the problem, then all of a sudden there's all these. Yeah, well, what about this? Well, what about that? What about this? What about that? Well, now it takes page after page of answers to come up with the solutions for those, or at least you try to. So anyway, I appreciate what you do. You don't have an easy job, so thank you.
I want to thank all the panelists. Appreciate that. A round of applause for them, please. Okay, so we want to open up the floor to other small business owners, entrepreneurs that would like to speak. Matt will come around with the microphone and make sure that you're heard. Who's up?
My name's Rick Johnson. I'm in the rafting business like Dave. I'm a bit unique in the rafting industry.
What's the name of your company, sir?
River Expeditions. We're the third largest company in West Virginia. My wife and I own it. We started in the rafting industry in '96 with no people, which nobody's done since Paul Brewer started. And we're real blessed. We've grown to where we are through merger and acquisition. But the coal industry brought me to West Virginia. I used to strip coal for a living. Coal fed me my whole life. So I have a warm spot in my heart for coal. But tourism is the only business that's ever been in the Appalachian region that every dollar that's made stays here. And the resource renews itself every time some Yankee comes down from Ohio or wherever. You know, it's a renewable resource that renews itself every day. It's a wonderful thing. But like Dave said, we see tourism declining, and tourism is a breaking point, just like Dave said. If we don't start spending money, if the state doesn't start spending money on tourism, marketing, you're going to see tourism fall off the face of the earth. And it's really the only thing here in West Virginia that has any opportunity to replace the lost revenue from coal. West Virginia's marketing budget for direct marketing for tourism is under $3 million. That's all they spend buying ads and doing TV. Every state around us spends at least triple that. Gatlinburg, just the city of Gatlinburg spends $10 million a year direct marketing. So Pigeon Forge spends that much. There's $20 million that those two places spend, not counting the budget of the state of Tennessee. So for every dollar that y'all put for direct marketing for tourism, $5 comes back in tax revenue. That's not a multiplier. That's not anything, any cute accounting. It's $5 for every dollar you spend. That's the national average. And as far as being successful, the state's been great to work with. I've done business in Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia, all in coal. And West Virginia is one of the best places to do business that I've ever done business. Everybody has their quirks, but West Virginia is accessible. The only other thing I'd touch on as far as entrepreneurs, West Virginia EDA does a great job. Back several years ago, the EDA board passed a new rule that they cannot loan money to anyone who does not pay what they consider a living wage and have health insurance. They are excluded. That excludes a tremendous amount of entrepreneurs, including the whole tourism industry, from borrowing money from the EDA of West Virginia. If you want to help entrepreneurs in West Virginia, young folks just starting out, or even old people like me just starting out, let the EDA loan them money. They won't give them money frivolously. The EDA's loss ratios are very small. But change the rules back to where the EDA can loan money to who they want to, not to be dictated by someone that says you have to have a living wage. Well, what's a living wage? You know, depends on where you're at. And most small entrepreneurs just starting cannot afford to have health insurance, so therefore they're precluded. Large companies can borrow money, if they've got health insurance through EDA. But it's kind of which came first, the chicken or egg. But thank you, folks, for letting me speak, and thank you all for caring, and keep up a good work.
My name is Barry Bledsoe. I manage a recycling center in Marion County, and just had one thing I'd like to bring to you for you to look at. Speaker Miley at the beginning said West Virginia coal was under attack, and it is. I would like to see our House and Senate take a look at a bill that was passed, I believe in 2009, 2010, but gets implemented next year, which was HB 103, which says that starting in 2015, utilities in West Virginia must start to generate 15% of their product with renewable energy. By 2020, it has to be 20%, and in 2025, it has to be 25%. That has two outcomes. One, if they start to switch and start burning less coal, you're going to have less coal miner jobs. I haven't talked to them, but I'm betting they're not going to go through that expense to switch. The result of that is they have to pay a tax. The final page of that bill says that the utilities can pass the cost of that tax on to the consumer, which means electricity rates in West Virginia are going to rise, and we're already seeing them request a raise in electricity rates this year in my home county. We have an opportunity to look at that and say, okay, maybe we need to revisit that and see if that was the right move, and I'd like to encourage you to do that, because I deal every day in my business with people who deal with coal mines. And with the problems we have coming from DC, it would be good to see our state not pass bills that would further restrict coal, which is going to hurt the machine shops, the trucking companies, the labs that do the business in West Virginia with these coal companies. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Kathy Calhoun with New River Gorge Regional Development Authority.
Heard your name tonight.
And we serve Fayette, Nicholas, Raleigh, and Summers counties. And one of our most recent challenges are deploying economic development loan funds to the local economic development authorities throughout the state. We most recently were able to access some of the West Virginia Capital Access Program funding, which was a federal stimulus program, and actually deployed funds for Country Road Cabins, Anna Labs, and Remet, which is a sister company to Sandshell. Those funds have been exhausted. We understand there should be another round of funding coming down the pike, and hopefully West Virginia will be in line to receive some of that funding. But again, one of our greatest challenges as an economic development lender is access to capital and being able to deploy those to our entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Barton. I'm the Executive Director of the Tamarack Artisan Foundation, based in Charleston, but works very closely in this community because of the really world-class facility based here in Beckley known as Tamarack. We agree with funding tourism. It is our future. Artisan entrepreneurship is a very successful strategy in tourism. We work with artisans in all 55 counties who are interested in building and strengthening their small businesses. Today we were in Beckley all day meeting with folks from Washington about building international connections for these small businesses. The investment that's made in Tamarack, the retail facility, is an investment and not a subsidy that has an enormous return on this state in all 55 counties and employs many, many people. This is a message that needs to be clearly understood by our legislature. And the Tamarack Foundation is very happy to meet with anyone in the legislature who would like more information about the impact of the work we do. Thank you.
My name's Delma Windsor, and I'm a retired insurance agent. One, I have a question for all of you. How can West Virginia...
We're not using posters, please.
Okay, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
How can West Virginia be ranked 49th in median income and still have us be able to go out and purchase, go out and stay and grab after rafting paints Most of the people around here can't even go because we can't afford it. Yes, my family from Maryland and Virginia and Idaho could, but I can't afford it. My husband can't because we don't make enough money. Something needs to be done to help out the medium families of West Virginia. So all I'm asking, you're trying to help. I know we have a lot of sports people here, people who love sports, and I'll give it to you. But I'm sorry, the Mountaineer football team, the Herds, and all these other ones, as the colleges cut their funds that we give to them and give it to the people of the state of West Virginia.
Thank you. It's great to be here and listen to the conversation. I'm Dave Harvickson with Adventures on the Gorge, and I know you hear enough things that you don't hear what's being done that's good for all of us. I do want to applaud the legislation regarding the minimum wage. Our company certainly employs a lot of people that are paid minimum wage, a lot of other people that are above that, but we support that legislation that went through. It's also our understanding that the language on the overtime exemption is being reviewed, and I again applaud that might be reversed. That impact to our business alone would be about $300,000. So I would have to go out and find $1.5–2 million in new revenues just to cover the impact of that legislation. So we hope that tomorrow that's resolved in the governor's special session. That's very important to us and many other seasonal businesses around the state. But I moved from Colorado. This is a wonderful state. I moved here because of the great people and the environment that is here in West Virginia. And I'm very pleased that you folks would take the time to come talk to all of us and listen to what we have to say. And we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for this opportunity. My name is Elizabeth Spellman, and I'm the director of the Food and Farm Coalition in West Virginia. We also work closely with the Value Chain Cluster Initiative, which supports food businesses, small and growing food businesses. And I just wanted to make a comment to encourage folks to think about ways, state legislation or other kinds of policy ways that would enable more viable food businesses in the state, because they are very sustainable practices. They've added a lot to local food economies over the past few years, and we're just seeing food businesses and farmers markets and all those related entities growing greatly over the past decade.
Any service provider, local folks that provide some will come around. Just introduce yourselves, please.
Good evening. I'm Christine Oliver. I'm the State Director for the Small Business Development Center. I have some shy business coaches over here in the front of the room, and you all can identify yourself. We provide technical assistance to small business. We provide business coaching, and we're looking to have a new business coach here with New River Gorge. So thank you very much.
I'm Ann Barth, and I'm the executive director of a nonprofit economic development organization called Tech Connect West Virginia. And we're basically trying to help get research out of our university labs and into the marketplace, and also innovations that may be happening on the garage floor, the machine shop, or an entrepreneur's garage. So we try to build capacity and support entrepreneurs in taking products to market and developing new technologies and services.
I'm Cindy Martell. I'm with the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. I'm a marketing specialist located in the Oak Hill field office.
Hi, I'm Mike Friel, and I'm with the Robert C. Byrd Institute for Advanced Flexible Manufacturing. And I just want to let people know that we, like your elected representatives, are here to help you. We have 3 advanced technology centers here in West Virginia, one in Huntington, one in Bridgeport, and one in South Charleston. And every day, if you come into one of our centers, and I invite you to do so, to come down and visit, you will see West Virginia manufacturers in our facilities making parts using the most advanced equipment in the world, and it's here in West Virginia. We also do a lot of stuff with the U.S. Navy, with major defense contractors, a lot with the mining and aerospace industry, And I just wanted to mention in connection with Tech Connect West Virginia, Marshall University, Concord University, and RCBI, we have undertaken a new initiative called the 3D Accelerator, and our goal is to help manufacturers, help all businesses, but specifically manufacturers in the tourism industry in 10 southern West Virginia counties. We offer quality assurance training, we offer machinist training, and I invite everyone to come see me afterwards. If there's anything we can do to help you, we'll be glad to help. Thank you.
My name is Terry Cyphers, and I'm the Charleston Center Manager for the Small Business Development Center. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Certainly appreciated the different perspectives, so I'm going to give mine real quickly. I think there's a couple opportunities for small businesses, and something that us as an SBDC is doing that's really sort of gaining some traction is we're starting to introduce some of our clients to the federal contracting space. I think there's some opportunity in that space for those clients, and we're starting to see some good things from that. And as we're going through and as we're coaching small businesses, the one thing that has been absolutely imperative and almost transforming is as they gain access to the new knowledge of how balance sheets run, how cash flow runs, they're able to really start managing their business in a way that they hadn't been before. So that access has been absolute key. Thank you.
Doug Spalding. I'm a Small Business Development Center coach in the Charleston office, and also center manager for the southern part of the state in Logan and Mingo area. I think the SBDC traditionally has been known to help startup businesses, and over the past couple of years, we have transformed through Christina Volver, the director here. We've transformed this center into more of, we help business of all stages. We can go in and help someone that's been in business for 10 years, 20 years, a $5 million business, a $10 million business, or just a startup. We have so many different programs and features that we can offer our business owners. So please get that word out to them to please give the SBDC a call, because we can help. We really can. We want to. So thank you.
I'm Harold Patterson. I'm in southern West Virginia. I cover McDowell, Wyoming, and Mercer. Along with what they said, we provide a lot of business planning and training, especially startup workshops. If you have entrepreneurs that really need to find the nuts and bolts, a lot of the questions we get is, how do I actually get into business? We provide a lot of that on a day-to-day basis.
Hi, I'm Jim Epling. I'm with the Region 1 Small Business Development Center. Have an office in Summersville, and officially I'm responsible for a coverage area that includes Nicholas, Fayette, Pocahontas, Webster, and Greenbrier counties. However, I do show up in Raleigh County and some other places. So I really appreciate you gentlemen and ladies taking the time this evening to do this. I think it really speaks to the accessibility of the state to listen to concerns of small business. I've worked with several of these folks, small business people that have spoken tonight, and they're a credit to the small business community in our state. So I'm really thankful that they've had the opportunity to speak to you. And I'll go along with some of the other SBDC folks that have spoken here. We're all about helping small businesses succeed and be successful. So, and I'd like to think that we're very accessible too in state government. So I'd encourage anyone with a small business to give us a call. If you've got ideas, if you've got challenges or opportunities, we'd like to talk to you. Maybe we can work through some of it. So thank you.
I'm Tennis Parrish, and I'm with the Women's Business and Training Center here in Beckley, and I'm a business coach and trainer. Work with startup businesses and existing businesses to help them grow, turn them on to different resources that they might need to become better business owners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
I'm Kathy Calhoun, and as I said before, New River Gorge Regional Development Authority serves Fayette, Nicholas, Raleigh, and Summers counties. And we are the first point of contact for new and existing business in our region. And we coordinate state, federal, and local programs to assure that our existing businesses are able to address their opportunities and challenges. And in addition to that, we also administer and manage economic development loan programs for our existing businesses.
I'm Joe Browse. I'm a business lender for the Natural Capital Investment Fund, and we are an enhanced lender who works in the state of West Virginia, doing primarily natural resource-based businesses, lending money to natural resource-based businesses in the state. We have also just recently expanded what we do to do businesses that are first do no harm businesses, so that will allow us to do a lot more lending. Along with New River Gorge Development and Kathy and Michelle at JIT. I just want to say we've been participants in the West Virginia CAP program. Appreciate your support of that. And just briefly, yes, we've deployed millions out of that fund, but it's also millions more that have come off the sidelines that would have went into projects. These things might not have happened if we weren't able to leverage those funds. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle O'Connor with the West Virginia Jobs Investment Trust. We are the venture fund for the state, and we administer the West Virginia Capital Access Program. We invest in companies, either startups or companies that are wanting to expand throughout the state, and have partnered with Kathy and Joe and other alternative lenders throughout the state.
I'm John Deskins with the WVU College of Business and Economics. In our college, we offer a wide variety of services for businesses. We have the Brick Street Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship that helps with small business development, formation, and growth. The Brick Street Center goes all the way from feasibility studies for brand new ideas for businesses and it offers services all the way up to businesses that are already have their operations running and are focused on growing. We have executive education, where we provide educational opportunities if your business leaders, if your executives need skills updating, if they need more training. Executive education offers tailored classes for your executives that can be very specifically tailored to your needs. My particular affiliation is with the Bureau of Business and Economic Research. We offer a lot of big picture macroeconomic research that your business may need.
I want to thank those providers for being here, and also hopefully they'll stay around a little bit. If you saw somebody who said, hey, I want to find out a little bit more, please go up and meet with them. Again, take a moment. We'll be here for a while to fill out those surveys and question cards or whatever that we can bring in, but now I'd like to turn it back over to the Speaker of the House.
Thank you, Carl. One person that we failed to identify, if he's still here, I saw him walk in a little while ago, was John O'Neill. Johnny, back there. John serves you from here in Raleigh and Summers County, so I didn't want to leave you out, John. As I said before, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all for sharing. As Doug Scaff mentioned at the beginning, this is a bipartisan group because we truly feel that economic growth in West Virginia should not be politicized. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. I don't even know what you guys are registered, but it's an issue that we all should focus on and not try and politicize. But let's move forward together. Let's try to utilize the resources we have, and we'll do what we can to help implement some of the things you all suggested. I can't promise that we'll be able to do everything you suggested because we are working within some constraints, as Mr. Pilato, you mentioned, but we want to do what we can to help you all succeed, because when you succeed, the state of West Virginia succeeds, and makes us proud to be your representatives. So thank you again for coming out on a beautiful evening.